let's welcome Brian Westbrook here to Rowan University. Two-time Pro Bowl selection during his 8-year career with the Eagles. Received the Walter Payton Award Best FCS Player in college football when he was at Villanova. Look at all these Hall of Fame that he's inducted into. Eagles, Villanova, Philadelphia Sports, Maryland State Athletic Hall of Fame. The guy is a flat-out superstar in football, but you were pretty good in other sports too, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah, he was. He's humble. We're going to talk about his foundation as well. So one more time, welcome Brian Westbrook.
I appreciate you guys being here. I think life is you just look at it as an interesting thing. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs no matter what part of life you're going to be in. There's going to be good and bad. But as long as you stay on focus, stay on track with your goal, the things that you want to do, things will always work out for you. I talk to my kids a lot. I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are already in a great position because you're students. But I talk to my kids an awful lot, and I say this one thing. I said, listen, if it does not align with your goal, whatever that is, my son wants to be a basketball player. He's going to have some problems because he's going to be 5'9", so he's going to have some problems. But I tell him, I say, if it doesn't align with your goal of being a basketball player, then you just can't do it. You just can't do it, And the same thing I would tell you guys, same thing I thought when I was in college. I wanted to be an NFL player after my second or third year in college. And that meant there were some parties that I just couldn't go to. Now, I went to a lot of parties, but it was some parties I couldn't go to. I had other things to do for the next day. There were some family events I had to miss. One of the things that you enjoy at your retirement is celebrating your birthday. My birthday is September 2nd. I never celebrated my birthday throughout my, 25-year career in football, period. Because we always had games, we always practice, things like that, family gatherings. You get to experience life again after you retire. And so I would just tell you guys, enjoy it. Find what that goal is for you, and anything outside of things that align with that goal, don't even mess with it.
So how tall are you?
5'10"-ish, I don't know. Who knows?
Okay, well, no. All right. You brought it up earlier about your son being small. Okay. You were not very big growing up, but you went to one of the great athletic programs out in the D.C. area, DeMatha High School.
Yeah.
And you played basketball and you played football. Did you play baseball too?
No, I quit baseball my freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were a really good basketball player.
Yeah, it was.
So was it your size that, like football is not for small guys either. I mean, so how did you determine your path of what you were going to do going into college?
So my high school story is actually an interesting one. So Boys and Girls Club, high school, before high school, like middle school stuff, I was really, really good. One of the best players in our area. And DeMatha truly is one of the best high schools in the country, sports-wise. So I went there my freshman year and just thought I was just going to transition to be able to play, just be a star there. In my freshman year, I didn't play one down, literally not on offense, defense, or special teams. I didn't play one play. And it was probably the most humbling experience that I've ever had before in my life, because when you think you're good and then you go somewhere and they tell you you're not good enough, that hurts. And it was one of those things where I had to look within and say, all right, what's your goal? What are the things you have to do to achieve your goal? What do you have to do to rectify what happened last year, your freshman year? And so I just worked my butt off. My story has always been simple. I never was the fastest, the biggest, the strongest, any of those things. But I worked harder than everybody else. And I was willing to do the things that no one else was willing to do. And because of that, like I mentioned with the parties and hanging out sometimes, you got to sacrifice some of those things. My sophomore year, I played an awful lot. The starter actually ended up getting in trouble with school. And because of that, he got kicked off the team. And that was literally the only time that they allowed me to play. And when I played, they were like, oh, damn, this kid can actually play. It's cool. Glad we have him. And my junior year, I was an All-American. This was being recruited by every school in the country, every Florida State, Florida, Michigan, Ohio, every school in the country. And going into my senior year, the August of my senior year, I tore my ACL in 1996. And so in 1996, when you tore your ACL, it was a year-long recovery period. Now it's probably 6, 7 months maybe. 6, 7, right? I know. My kids are saying it all the doggone time. Now it's a lot shorter, and so it was a humbling thing. Like all those schools that I just mentioned, none of them wanted me anymore. Literally none of them. I was getting handwritten letters from coaches. They were coming to see me every single day, and no school. They were like, "Yeah, nah, we're good. We don't want that anymore." And so my senior year, I might have played 3 or 4 games of football, and no school all gave me a scholarship offer, like zero. I didn't have a chance to go. I wouldn't. My parents couldn't pay for college, and so I played basketball. I played in a brace, had a torn ACL, and Villanova came one day, and we were just messing around, dunking or whatever in warm-ups, and the coach said, "If you dunk, I'll give you a scholarship." And I went up, dunked the ball. He was like, "I'm going to give you a scholarship." I was like, "Perfect," because I literally had no other schools that were interested in me, and it ended up going to Villanova
On a dunk.
on a dunk, on a dunk. Yeah.
Things turned out pretty well for you at Villanova, didn't they?
Things worked out. My freshman year, I was a part of a great freshman class, but also really a great team. We had Brian Finneran, who actually was a free agent with the Eagles, 6'5" receiver. He had a twin brother, Brad. Just great players. Brian ended up playing 15 years in the NFL. We were the number 1 team in the country for about 10 weeks, and then ended up losing against the eventual national champions, Youngstown State. Did well my freshman year. My second year, I was an All-American, one of the best players in the country. I had 1,000 yards rushing. I had 1,000 yards receiving. I had 980 yards in kickoff returns my sophomore year. My true junior year, during that summer, I was actually playing basketball, and I tore my ACL again. And so, if you just look in the history of sports, the ability of guys to come back before they make it to the professional levels to play after two torn ACLs, it's just rare. It just doesn't happen. But I was lucky. I was blessed. I worked really hard to come back. In my last 2 years in school, I was an All-American again. I guess my junior year, my redshirt junior year, and I thought about leaving school then. They let you go through this program. They say you have the chance of getting drafted between the 3rd and 5th round. And I was like, nah, I want to go higher than that. So I came back to school. In my last year, I was an All-American again. I was the best player in college football. So they, like Neil mentioned, they have like the Heisman in 1A football. In 1AA football, which is Villanova's level, they have the Walter Payton Award, who was a great running back way before you guys' time. But he was probably one of the best running backs, top 3 or 4 running backs ever. He went to a smaller school, 1AA school, so they had named the award after him. Mm-hmm. And I won that award as the best college player. I probably should have won it like 3 times, really. But, and it all worked out. And to be honest with you, I want to be very, very clear. The only reason I went to Villanova was not to go play in the NFL. There was not very many people before me or after me that went to Villanova and made it to the NFL. I went to Villanova because it was literally one of the only schools that gave me a scholarship offer. But most importantly, I knew that after school, with a Villanova degree, similar to Roman, I would be able to get a job. And the most important thing for me was to be a successful person, period. And so I was able to go there with the thought that not to play in the NFL, but more importantly, to be able to work after college.
How's your knees today? Like, does it give you problems?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah. Over time, your knee just playing ball. I've had 5 knee surgeries. Now it's bone on bone, but that's part of the life, man. If you go see some of these older guys that have played any professional sports for any length of time, I mean, they're in bad shape just because you get beat up, your knees, your ankles, your hips, all of that stuff. And over time, that's the price you have to pay for playing sports. They say one thing, you'll hopefully leave professional sports with 3 things. One, hopefully, is money. You leave with money. Unfortunately, 70% of professional players in football go bankrupt within 7 years of playing of their end of their career, right? The second one is injuries. You're going to leave with injuries. I don't care what position you play. except for kicker, I guess. They're not really position, but kickers. And the third one is memories, right? You live with memories all the time. We're just hanging out with your boys in the locker room, doing crazy stuff, going out. You live with those three things, and you try to make the most of all of them.
So I want you to get a sense of who's in the room. So just Eagle fans, put your hands up, Eagle fans. Okay. All right. Giant fans. Giant fans.
Just leave now. Just leave now.
Okay. So normally we have actually more Giant fans than I would thought. We have a lot of Eagle fans here tonight. But let's talk about memories.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have lots of questions, but I'm going to get my final one in here. You did have some success against the Giants, didn't you, over the years?
It worked out well.
Yeah. Can you share some of those moments? Maybe they might appreciate that.
I think probably the most memorable moment that I had against the Giants was, I think it was my second year. So my first year, I was behind Deuce Staley, Carell Buckhalter, Dorsey Levens, Brian Mitchell. I was just fighting to try to find time on special teams, right? And it was again, another humbling experience. You made it to the NFL where you really want to be at, but you get basically almost no time to be on offense. And so I played an awful lot of special teams. I worked my butt off just to be good at special teams, which, you know, I came from a program when I was the best offensive player, so I'd never played special teams before. But when you get to the league, even when you get to a new job, you know, after college, you may not be doing exactly what you want, but if you work your butt off, you have an opportunity to go anywhere you want. But first, you got to learn how to work your butt off, right? And so I worked my butt off just to be on the special teams, and I did that a lot. My second year, Deuce held out. A running back in front of me held out. A couple of the other guys got hurt, and I was a starter, but I also returned punts. And so we went up to the Meadowlands, which is the name of the stadium at the time. We were losing, I don't know, 6-10 or something like that, 6-10 with about a minute left in the game. And they had literally the best punter in the NFL. His name was Jeff Fiegels. And so if you figure the out of bounds lines of the fields are like this and opposite the end zone, he would kick it, he would angle kick it to the sideline. So if you're able to catch the ball, you're literally on the sideline and all the players are converging on you. And so all day long, kicks it to the sideline, kicks it to the sideline. I'm fair catching it because there's just not enough room to run the ball. It's just fair catch it. And so John Harbaugh, who is the head coach for the Ravens now, he was our special teams coach. He said, listen, we're going to pressure them. Maybe if we put a little bit of pressure on them, we can get them to kick the ball into the middle, right? And so we pressured him. And he didn't kick it in the middle, but he kicked it to the numbers. And it bounced one time in front of me, and I got it. And we got one block by my good friend Ike Reese in the back, probably. And I was able to make a couple people miss and score, I don't know, 80-yard touchdown, which was just monumental for my career and my confidence, right? As a player, you're always proving yourself. How do you prove yourself unless you get in the game, unless you play? And I was still trying to prove myself to not only to myself, but to my other teammates, but to the fans as well. Like, this little guy from Villanova, why did we draft him in the third round? And it was plays like that that helped allow me to prove myself. And really after that, we went on a 6 or 7 game win streak as a team. And, in an ultimate team sport, you always want to have an effect on the team. You always want to have the ability to say, I've done this for the team, and I'm willing to do it again. And that was one of the things that I was probably most proud of, that play propelled us in a season where we weren't great, but it propelled us to 6 or 7 games in a row winning. So
now a lot of the Giant fans will remember, or Eagle fans, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
And that punt return that you had was as impactful as Deshaun Jackson's punt return. So there you go. Just bring that up. All right. Sorry, Giant fans. You know what? If it's a Giant fan that has a question, because I just took a shot at you. Sam, would you like to ask the first question then, since I just went after the Giants? Oh, go ahead, Sam. As a spokesperson for the Giants, go ahead.
Yesterday wasn't the best day for the Giants, but Eagles fans can't talk.
The Giants have had a lot of bad days.
Yeah. You know what? I'll appreciate it more. Probably, what's your favorite memory in NFL?
Played 9 years, 8 in Philadelphia, 1 in San Francisco. Probably my favorite memory is the NFC Championship game. So my rookie year, we went to the NFC Championship game, lost to Tampa Bay at the Vet, last game at the Vet, we lost to Tampa Bay. My second year, we went to the championship game, played the Panthers, and I didn't play that game because I got hurt the game before. My third year, we played in the championship game again. That's the year we went to the Super Bowl. T.O. had came to our team that year, and we went to the Super Bowl. And so celebrating that game was probably the most, the biggest game for me, most important game in my career. What happened was T.O., who was a star. T.O.'s a Hall of Famer, Terrell Owens. He came to our team, and he was just amazing. He was a receiver that we absolutely needed. And so we went the whole season, but he got hurt at the end of the season. And so where it was Donovan and T.O., and I was kind of the third guy throughout the most of the season. I still did really well. I made the Pro Bowl that year, but I was kind of the third guy, just the other guy, right? It wasn't Batman or Robin. I was kind of just the other guy that came along. When T.O. got hurt, they gave me the ball even more, and I really carried the team to make it throughout the playoffs, the end of the season and throughout the playoffs, and to make it to the Super Bowl. Then, we ended up losing to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But that was probably my best and favorite moment of football throughout my career.
All right, in the back.
So, I have a question. So, what's your favorite, announcer you watch? Cause I know you're Eagles guy. Mel Reese is, one of the most iconic announcers. I'm a Jets fan, but I think Mel Reese is, one of the most iconic announcers of all time. Were you a big fan of, Mel Reese, as an announcer of the Eagles?
So when Merrill would call a great play of yours, that punt return, is that, do you listen to it? Do you hear it? Do people share it with you? Give me a sense of that.
I probably hear it more now, after you playing. When the hard part for me, this is one of the things that I wish I could have changed throughout my career, is that when you're so locked in, you're so focused on getting to the top of the mountain, you don't look around as often, right? You don't look around and be like, oh, this is cool. So I wasn't as focused on, as far as records being broken, what you have done, or listening to Merrill, because I was so focused on winning and just getting better and being able to play in longevity in the NFL. It wasn't until after I retired when I had a chance to kind of listen more. And Merrill has always been a great dude to me. He's been always kind. He came up with this phrase. He called me the Wizard of Westbrook. And he was like, man, you feel like a wizard out there. You're making people miss you, doing all these crazy things out there that at the time not a lot of people were doing. But Merrill, when I listen to announcers and color commentators and people that just call the games, there's no doubt Merrill is literally the best in the business. And truly, he's an NFL Hall of Famer, which is kind of crazy for a guy, but he's been doing it for 50 years. It's been pretty amazing.
It's at least 40, over 40. Mike Quick's been doing it 28.
Mike Quick is an amazing. Mike Quick was should be in the NFL Hall of Fame if he didn't get hurt. Yeah. That's how amazing. I mean, he only played 6 years, but his stats almost say that he should be in the Hall of Fame.
So you mentioned broadcasting. So you did dabble in broadcasting. Mm-hmm. Why didn't you continue pursuing broadcasting?
So after my career, I went right into broadcasting. Worked at Comcast, NBC, Fox Sports 1 recently, about 4 or 5 years ago. I loved it. Did all radio, ESPN radio. I really loved talking about the game. But one of my goals in life was to own businesses and be successful in business and be if I want to be honest, filthy rich, right? And you don't get filthy rich unless you're the top guys, unless you see the guys on Fox every Sunday and those guys. And I felt like I was putting 60 hours of work per week just watching all the games. So just think about it. If you got 16 games a week and each game is 2.5, 3 hours, right? And then you got to study on those games. You got to read the newspapers from different cities. That's 60 hours every week throughout the season, 17, 18 weeks straight. And I've always felt like if I wanted to be successful and I was going to put 60 hours of work into something, I can put 60 hours of work into my business, to things that I own, that, in broadcasting, if I leave, if I go on maternity leave, I got sick or something, they'll call LaShawn McCoy, right? And if they love LaShawn McCoy, then they ain't calling me back. And that's just how things go. So I wanted to have something that I can control, something that I love, something that says Westbrook on it, not Fox or NBC or something like that. Also something that I can pass on to my kids. And so my wife and I, we built 3 businesses and that we run and operate, and that's what I spend a lot of my time on.
Okay. All right. Right here. Go ahead, Ian.
So being from an FCS school, obviously, kind of nowadays with the whole NIL landscape, what are your personal opinions on FCS schools kind of changing more to a feeder school for the G5 and Power 5 schools where players are just going there to play and then leave in terms of actually just going there, staying their whole career and getting the NFL from the FCS?
I think if you're good enough to play, it doesn't matter what level you go to, they'll find you. I mean, I got some good friends. One of my best friends is a scout, and he's always scouring Division II schools, Division III schools, and so it hurts me to see that FCS programs are being used as feeder schools for these bigger schools. Villanova, they'll play Harvard this week, but I would love if we can keep every athlete that we had there and stay there. That's what I would love to see. I personally feel like the bigger schools, they go get the high school kids and develop kids like everyone else has to do, right? The smaller schools, you have to develop talent. You have to take a guy that's just okay and make him good for your school. Some of the big schools are trying to cheat the program. The program for them is wait till a guy becomes really good. We'll grab him from a smaller school and we'll just use him for a couple years. That's the way sports says the landscape has kind of proven and shaken out to be. As much money as the guys are making now, though, I think back to how much money I would have made in college.
When have you left Villanova in the NIL era?
Well, I don't blame kids for leaving, right? Here's the other part, right? If I'm at Villanova and I'm just dead broke, right? I don't have any money, and somebody says I'll give you $5 million a year to go to Florida State, I'm gone. I mean, so it does come down to a money thing. But I mean, I also don't blame the kids. I mean, you can't blame the kids that's in a bad situation. And even if you got money, $5 million is hard to come by. And we have young kids that are making up $1 million, $2 million in college that will never play in the professional level. There was a guy, I'm on an alumni group at Villanova. He was making $1.5 million every year in college for 5 years. He never made it to the NBA. He never made it. So that, however much, $7 million that he received, whatever it was at the end, that's all the money the necessary he has when he has to go figure out what he wants to do next. And I can't blame him for doing that. It actually makes sense to me.
Quinyon Mitchell actually turned down money in Toledo.
Yeah.
He stayed at Toledo. That's a rarity. It's an extreme rare case.
Hard to do.
High quality player
Yeah.
that didn't leave for the big money.
Yeah, I mean, he had a future in the NFL, but you never know what injury happens. But you have to be committed and locked in to be able to do that. If they would offer me a lot of money, it would have been hard to turn down, I'll tell you that.
That's a good, honest answer. Go ahead, Leo.
So you've had a long NFL career, and you've obviously talked to a lot of journalists in that time. So as a player, what advice could you give journalists when covering players, teams, and different events that happen?
Another good question. The most important thing for us is that we don't have a lot of time with the journalists, right? So just imagine, I've seen journalists come and ask me questions that had no clue what the hell they were talking about, right? And I would suggest that all journalists know your stuff, right? The better you speak the language, the better the interview is going to be. My energy is going to match yours. So if you're, I don't know, and you're looking all around and don't know what you're talking about, that's the same thing I'm going to do. I'm like, Shane, you don't care. You didn't care enough to do your homework, then I'm not going to care enough to give you a good interview. That's kind of how it works out. So know your stuff. Be prepared. Make sure that you're trying to pull the best answers out of those people. And if you do that, I mean, you're off to a very good start.
It's a good question.
Thank you.
Right here.
Going through your career, I mean, how did you stay focused? How did you what advice would you have to make sure that you didn't get distracted at any point, or anything that would kind of beat you off the path?
How did you stay focused, Brian?
Yeah. Professional levels, it's so hard to stay focused because it's your first time having money. You got as much money as you possibly can have. Parties, cars, and everything else that comes with it, right? But the goal is to stay as long as possible. That's the goal. Short careers, you're making some money, but that's not where you make the most money. Your goal is to play as long as possible. And so in order to do that, you have to eat right. You have to lift weights. You got to study. You have to do so many things. And for me, as long as I was focused on the small things, How many days am I lifting? How many days am I stretching? Am I taking care of my body? Am I doing the right thing by studying? Am I in the weight room? Am I doing the small things that matter to the ultimate goal? They may not translate onto the field right away, but if the goal is for me to play 10 years, then I got to do the small things every single week to make sure that I can reach that goal. It's the same thing with studying, right? You might not have a test every single day, but if you study just a little bit every single day, that makes the test easier, right? And same thing with football. If you work your butt off a little bit every single day, work to that point where you can just have exhaustion every single day, that makes the games on Sunday a little bit easier. The goal for me always was to be on that point. It's kind of, I call it the edge of obsession, right? When you listen to guys like Kobe and Michael Jordan, they were obsessed with the game. They were obsessed with perfecting the game. For me, that's what I was obsessed with. I was obsessed with perfecting everything that I did. What's the least amount of steps I can take? How efficient can I be? How do I make a defense work without actually having the ball in my hands? Those small things that are inside the game, those are the things that I focus on to help me focus on and really reach the goal that I wanted to at the end.
All the way in the back, Alan, go ahead.
Yeah, so you played at Villanova, and like we see FCS football. Of course, now I think it's more popular given social media and everything. How well do you think a team like your Villanova team or North Dakota State today could compete in D1 against like the small like a Temple or an Akron or a Kent State?
Oh, we'll beat Temple every day. We'll always beat them. So maybe my sophomore year, we went up and played Pitt, University of Pitt. So usually FCS schools, they'll go play a big school every year, right? We played Air Force, we played Pitt, and we ended up losing to Pitt by 2 points, maybe 3 points. I mean, I had a really good game, 5 touchdowns, 450 yards of all-purpose football. But I think you can compete. The hard part for smaller schools is this. You only have 90 players, and probably half of them are only ones that are going to play. When you go to these big schools, they have 150 players. So their practice habits are better. They're able to rotate people in that are good, All-Americans. One All-American's out, another All-American is in. On our team, we may have 2 All-Americans on our team, period, right? So we don't have the ability, we don't have the depth to compete for 4 quarters against those schools. And so we'll compete for a little bit, but usually the bigger schools are going to win. But if you watch college football now and you're watching it, you're seeing some of these smaller schools have an opportunity to win against big schools. Same thing in basketball as well. And so it really is, it's kind of a toss-up. But the good schools, if you're a good, bigger school, you should beat up on smaller schools. Like Villanova played Penn State the last couple of years. They played them this year and maybe 2 years ago. Penn State beat us up pretty bad. I think they beat us 56-7, something like that. They should.
Yeah. Appalachian State's had some success
Yeah,
over the big boys
that's
over
right.
the years. I think didn't Kennesaw State win a big? I
Mhm.
think they won a game this year as well, or last year, whatever it was. All right, right here.
I just wanted to ask, who's motivated you most in your life?
I think if you would ask me when I was a young man and didn't think life through, it would probably be an athlete, Michael Jordan, Walter Payton, those types of athletes. But, now that I'm grown, 46 years old, I think back to what developed me as a man. And I just remember the conversations that I had with my parents, my mom and my dad, literally my mom and my dad. My mom would literally, and I was the best athlete in our area. She always say, there's kids that are better than you. They're just kids better than you. And you're not the best. And what she was saying really was that you may be the best here, but there's other kids, other places that are just as good as you. And you better work your butt off to be better than them. Because if you don't, then it's just a matter of time it catches up with you. My dad was always my coach, and he would always push us hard to be better. And, at some point, it all worked out. My brother played in the NFL as well. He played 5 years with the Washington. They were Redskins, now Commanders. But the biggest lessons I've learned from my parents, and my coaches too. Some of my coaches, my high school coach, he's the winningest high school coach in the history of basketball. He's won the most games. His name is Morgan Wooten. Great high school coach. My high school football coach is the best coach in the DMV, District of Columbia, DC, Maryland, and Virginia history. He's won, 25 championships, one of the best records in the country. When I went to college, Andy Talley, he was at Villanova for 35 years. He's he is in the College Football Hall of Fame. So I was been surrounded by great parents, but also great coaches that always pushed and instilled in me the most important thing is your goal, and everything else, you got to push to the wayside. And the other thing that those coaches did that was beautiful, and the thing you don't realize until you get older, is that they were coaching football, but what they really were talking about was life. They were saying things like, "Don't put off till tomorrow something that you can do today." They were saying, just great things that they were instilling in us throughout our time there. Um, don't rush. Be in a hurry, but don't rush. Those types of things that you're like, well, that doesn't make any damn sense. But when you get older and then you have kids, you're repeating these same type of things to your kids, and it starts to make sense at some point.
Over there. Yep.
From the day you retired in 2012 to now, how have retirement treated you, and what have you done since that you weren't able to do when you were active?
Retirement's been good. Retirement's been good. I have 3 kids now, so I have a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So I spend a lot of my time taking care of my kids. But retired life is good. It's allowed me to be able to do the things that I truly love, the things that I really want. Back in '05, I bought a horse farm. I thought it was a great business to buy. I thought it was something that would make me rich and I'll never have to work again. But it did the exact opposite. It cost me more money than I ever wanted to spend on it. But the thing that I've gained is a love for horses. My kids absolutely adore horses. They ride horses every single day. It's been fun watching my kids grow, which is probably the beauty of retirement, being able to do all the things I wasn't able to do previously, but also being able to hang out with my kids every single day, and my wife as well, every single day. It actually makes things like this harder because I want to be able to talk to fans and kids and university students all the time, but we have basketball, ballet, gymnastics, football, soccer. I mean, it's just crazy, our schedule, and so we spend a lot of time doing that. The other thing that I spend a lot of time on is my businesses. We literally are in the weeds every single day with all of our businesses. We have a foundation, the Brian Westbrook Foundation. We have a real estate development business, so we build apartment buildings. We also build low affordable homes, low income housing, and we also have a engineering staffing business. So we have an engineering staffing, construction staffing, and IT staffing business. So we help other businesses scale and get bigger.
Let's talk about the foundation. So I gave students the heads up that you're looking to add some interns to your foundation as you continue to build your foundation. So share a little bit about the mission of the foundation and maybe how some of these students can help you with your foundation.
Yeah, so like I told you guys, I bought the horse farm in '05, and it was a boarding facility. So I operated as a boarding facility. And what that is that if you had a horse, but you didn't have anywhere to keep it at your house, you would bring it to us, and we would take care of it. We would feed it, make sure it had water, hay, places to hang out in the fields and stuff like that. We would take care of your horse. And so when you came to ride it, it would be all ready in the stall, ready to go. We did that for 12 years. And so in 2017, right around when Colin Kaepernick was going through his stuff, you guys remember that? He was going through his stuff. My wife and I were talking. I was like, man, damn, I feel like Colin Kaepernick literally is giving up his NFL career to speak up for minorities like myself. And I aligned with that. And so I was like, all right, well, what can we do to help? My wife was like, I don't know. What can we do? I said, I think we can turn our horse farm into an empowerment center, a place where young people can go and feel relief that there's no pressure for them to do anything except for better themselves, a place where they can go and educate themselves, be empowered, and grow, be educated in a different way. And so we built our foundation, and our mission was very, very simple. We wanted to educate, empower young people, and show them an opportunity to advance. We want to give them an opportunity to reach their goal, right? It was our belief that our young people are walking around with blinders on, and really all they can see is right in front of them. And it's our job to give them education and opportunities so they can gradually take those blinders away and see all these opportunities in front of them. And that's what we've been able to do. We do it in a lot of different ways. We know that 55% of kids will go to college, 45% won't, right? And so for the kids that go to college, we have data analytic programs, agriculture data analytics programs, um, athletic data analytics program. We have financial literacy programs. We have GIS, geographic information systems programs. We got a bunch of programs, entrepreneurship programs. And for those that did not go to college, we can't forget about those young people. We have trade programs. We tell our young people, like, listen, you may not go to college, you're 18 when you graduate, but if you give me 2 years in a trade, you'll be making 6 figures in 2 years. By the time you're 20, making 6 figures. So just think about it. It's what we tell our young people that don't go to college. The kids that went to college, they're still in college in 2 years. You're making over $100,000 a year if you work the program, you learn the skill, and you work the trade. That's what we teach our young people. That's the skills that we continue to connect them with. We also connect them with job opportunities, right? And so we always tell our kids, we do no sports programs at all. We have an equestrian program, but we don't have any sports programs. And we did that purposefully, because we think that there's a bunch of sports programs, there's a bunch of opportunities for kids to get into sports programs, but your ability to be a professional athlete is just not very high. It's 0.001%. That's crazy. So in this room, including myself, nobody would be an athlete. Nobody would be a professional athlete, right? That's what the percentages say. But everybody here would need a job. Everybody wants sustainable, livable wages. Everybody wants to be able to raise a family and have money. And so we try to teach that in our foundation. And so those are the things that we do. But the most important part is helping young people. That's what our mission is. We have a mission of service. We don't ask for credit. We don't ask for any of that. We just want to make sure our young people have the ability to see their future and live it.
So you're doing some things. Your farm's in Maryland, but you do things in Philadelphia. You and I talked about we'd like to try to do some things here in South Jersey. But you do a golf outing. Some of our students helped you with your golf outing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. So in order to run a foundation, you have to raise money. You just got to raise money. We can help, from the donations, the smaller donations that we give. We can help 5,000 kids a year. But if we want to move to helping 50,000 kids a year, we got to take in donations. And so we had a golf outing in August, and Neil was so gracious to introduce me to, I think, with 5 or 6 students.
Hannah, were you one of them?
Hannah was here.
Stephen, did you do it?
I saw Stephen
did
was
it.
here.
Yeah. Who else did it?
I know Katie, she may not be here, but Michael was. I mean, we had about 4 or 5 students that came and did videography, that spoke to the other players, spoke to the other participants. Stephen did a great video for us. I mean, we have a need for these things, and so for us as a foundation, marketing is huge, right? What do you do and how do you do it? People want to know, and so we need those types of things. And so when we look for interns and for volunteers, marketing is huge for us. Videography is huge for us. Social media is obviously huge for us. If you know how to use AI better than I do, that's huge for us. We have so many different things inside of our organization, so many things that we do. And we actually, and I didn't mention this, but one of the buildings we're building here in Philadelphia, we'll have the headquarters for the Westbrook Foundation in the ground floor. And so we have workspace there. We have space for our young people to go and study and have different programs as well. But if you can imagine anything that can help young people, we have a need for that. Literally anything. Mentorship. If you want to just talk to the kids, we have. And the bad part for some of our people, they don't think, what am I going to say? Well, sometimes just sitting down next to a kid and having a conversation with them is meaningful. I'll give you guys a quick story. This was like a couple of years ago. I'm at Chicky and Pete's talking to a guy. He was like, do you remember me? I was like, nah, I meet thousands of people every single year. He said, well, you met me, 10 years ago when my daughter was 8. She just graduated high school. I said, oh, that's cool. He said, you remember what you said to her? I was like, I don't remember who you are. He said, well, she was struggling in high school. We came to see you, and he said, I wasn't even going to bring her to see you. He said, but I just wanted to kind of try to break the mold, to do something different. I wasn't going to bring her to see you. He said, but you whispered something. We were talking, and you said something to her. And from that day on, she got straight A's. And he said, as a dad, I couldn't figure out what the heck happened. He said, but when she just graduated, literally just the other day, he said, I asked her. He said, but, I can't remember her name, Karen, why did you, what changed in you? What was a thing that happened that went from an average student to a straight A student? And this was her words, not mine. She said, well, Brian Westbrook told me to work my butt off, and kind of some of the things that I probably say to everybody. Keep working hard. You can do it. You believe in yourself. All those important things. Just had a conversation with her, and that changed her life. It wasn't, to be honest with you, it wasn't as meaningful to me. I don't even remember it. But my point is, we have kids that just need somebody to say something. And you guys have already reached, you're in college, you've already reached a level that many of these kids don't even aspire to be at. Some of these kids don't even see a future, right? They'll say, man, maybe I'll be alive by the time I go to college, maybe. Right? Can you imagine that? Being 8 years old saying that you may not make it to 18? That's crazy. And sometimes they just need a word from someone like yourself to say, you can do it. Pat them on the back, man, you did a good job. One of the things I try to do with my kids, even though I'm a tough parent, is just praise them. I love what you're doing. I love my daughter. I got on her really hard yesterday. She wasn't listening. She was telling lies too. And I got on her really hard yesterday, but today she came home. She got a 96 on the test, and we went crazy. I think she should have got 100, but she got a 96 on the test, and we went crazy as a family because you got to celebrate these things, right? And sometimes it's just a small word. And so when we look at the foundation and the things that we do, we just need people that want to help. One of the things that I did when I was in college, we always had every Monday, even during football season, which gave us a break from practice, we always went into inner city Philadelphia and just was around kids. We would play with them. I had a little brother growing up, and we would just play catch all the time. And so we would go into the city, play catch with kids, just around them, just in their space. And that's what these young people want. They may not have that. And again, you guys have something right now that they may not even be dreaming about, but you also have the ability to push them even further. So that's super important to them.
All right. If you're interested in internships, it's going to be where were they?
Yeah. I mean, if you guys are interested, we would love to talk to you. They can email us at info@brianwestbrookfoundation.com.
info@brianwestbrookfoundation.com. You can reach out to me as well. I'll put you in touch with the foundation, but it is out there if you're interested. And for those of you, Hannah, Stephen, in particular, that were there, I know they mentioned it was a really neat experience.
They did such a great job. I mean, some of the videos, when we have social media, and some of the likes that we've gotten from the videos that Stephen and the young people that have done, it was amazing. Having people there just talking glowingly about our foundation, when in reality I literally just told them about it that day of and the day before, was absolutely amazing. It spoke to you guys' hard work. You just wanted to do it, and I appreciate everything that you guys did. Thank you very much.
Well done. Great job. All right, who's got the next question? Go ahead, Antoinette.
So you were an athlete in college, you're a professional athlete. Being away from that world now, and clearly hear so much about young kids and their health and their mental health especially. When you were an athlete, how was athlete mental health kind of treated? Today, in today's world, like athletes their mental health is like a top priority, but they're also at the same time they're making money for the people in charge. So how was your mental health taken aside? Were you seen as a person in that entity, or were you just seen as an athlete?
Mental health. Boy, that's a big question now. And what was it like when you were as a player?
Mental health was basically non-existent for us. It was truly go play ball. That's what you get paid to do. We so we're all in the locker room. We always had the training room. We would hang out in the training room from time to time, and it was just this little white guy that used to be around, just walking around, and I never knew who he was. Literally up until my last day, I never knew who he was, and then I'm like, who is this dude? And he was the psychologist, and I was like, no one ever talked to him. Everybody was like, thought he was kind of weird and just hanging around. We literally had no mental health training. Our coaches never talked about mental health with us at all. We had no support in that way. If you needed support, you had to go find it yourself. One of the things that is super important to me now is mental health. Truly, with part of our programs, every one of our programs, we have a mental health piece in it. I was the director of player engagement for the XFL a couple years ago, and that was a big part of what we did. Listen, mental health is just as important as physical health. And so we had psychologists all over the place, all the time, talking to our guys, making sure they were upbeat and doing well. But back in the day, it wasn't a very significant part for us at all. All right, very good. Go ahead.
So what kind of like skills or habits translated from the football field into your business life?
Ooh, it's a good question. I think, again, I try to keep my life as simple as possible. I'm not a very smart man, but I can do the things that I love very, very well. I always call it the TNT list, right? Takes no talent. The things that literally take no talent to do. I'm gonna show up on time. I'm gonna be early every single time. I don't mess around. I'm gonna be early. I'm gonna be dedicated. I'm gonna be responsible. I'm gonna be responsive. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna use my manners. I'm gonna do all the things that no one is willing to do. If we need somebody to take out the trash, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the trash out. There's no job that's too small for me. I'm gonna work harder than everybody else. I don't care how hard you work. I'm gonna work harder. There are days like this morning. I woke up at 3:30, was typing out proposals. Our executive director for our foundation just came on this morning, and I was messing around all weekend, so I get it done. So I had to get up this morning and do it before I woke the kids up at 7. We're just gonna do things that other people aren't willing to do. Those are the things that are important to me and that have helped me. I'm focused, especially if it's something I need to do. I'm laser focused on that, and nothing can shake me from that. I want to live on the edge. I want to live on the edge where I'm like, perfection is my goal, and if I can get close enough to perfection, I'll always be successful. In this world, I want to be successful. And some people kind of play around with it, and they're like, I want to do this, I want to do this. I'm like, nah, I have one goal, and if it was being on TV, then I'm gonna do that. If it's not that anymore, if it's football, I'm gonna do that. If it's raising kids and owning businesses, that's gonna be my focus. So I try to keep my life simple in that way, even though I'm juggling a lot. The other thing, it's a little bit further and deeper, is I delegate responsibilities an awful lot. I try to put smart people in place and surround myself with smart people that know way more than me, and I give them responsibility and I judge them on that responsibility. I told my ED today, like, listen, you can't be in the weeds with stuff. I need you to back up, and we put people in place to be in the weeds, but I need you to see the full picture, and that's one of the skill sets that I have. Go ahead, Kate, and then we'll go here.
So I just want to know, obviously you're handling a lot of different things in your life. How do you deal with pressure? And how do you deal with sorry if you're no stranger to big moments, but how do you deal with pressure overall?
I don't feel pressure, and it's kind of weird to say that. Let's talk about football. In the biggest moments, those are the moments that I've practiced the most. Returning punch, catching the ball. The difference between me and my college career, where I maybe caught one or two punts, and then the NFL, is 10,000 punt returns. Between my rookie year and my second year, I went out and bought a jugs machine, which is a machine that shoots the ball in the air. And went out and bought that. And every day, my dad was a bank manager. He would come home at 5 o'clock. We would go straight to the field. This is my rookie. I made some money at this point. We would go straight to the field, and I would catch 200-300 balls every single day, just so that in the pressure situations, I can actually perform. And so in life, it's almost the same thing for me. And the reason I say I don't feel pressure, I've been there, I've done that, and I prepared myself. Part of that skill set, the things that, you got to prepare yourself. And if you prepare yourself on that level, then when those moments come, it's just a habit, right? Even when I was doing TV, one of my good friends makes fun of me, my wife does too. I would literally have my notes in front of me, and I know exactly what I want to say, but now I'm in the mirror before the show, just talking to the mirror. Neil knows, I'm sure Neil did it. Neil, I don't know, you guys probably don't remember. So back in what did you start then, 96, 97?
97 was
97. Comcast was the network then, and Neil was a big part of bringing that network online and covering college football, NFL, sports, MLB as well. And part of that is being a professional and not stumbling over your words and stuff like that. And so every single day when I was on TV, I would be rehearsing every part of the show hundreds of times before I actually had to deliver it on the show, so that I didn't feel that pressure. And that's the dedication. It's hard to do that. It's hard to find the time to do that. But if you don't want to be in a situation where you're nervous and pressure filled, then you have to be prepared.
What's my excuse now when I talk to the mirror every day? What's my excuse? Keegan, go ahead.
My question for you, you mentioned earlier you love talking about the game, and that's one of the reasons you got into broadcasting and whatnot. I just wanted to ask how you feel the game is progressing these days. Teams are passing more, players are becoming more specialized, kickers are kicking further than they ever have, same with punters. How do you feel that that's going to continue in the future?
I think every game is going to evolve, and it's going to evolve into a more watchable game, more entertaining game. They want points. So that's why they switched the balls. And I don't know if you guys know, but they switched the balls up a little bit. So they're going to kick the longest field goals ever, and that'll continue. They want points. They want excitement. They don't want 7-3 games. They want to continue to score. And so they're going to continue to shift the rules and protect quarterbacks a lot more so that the game's going to be more exciting. I don't love it. I complain like the old guys before me. They were complaining about the game when I played, and I'm kind of like the old guys now, complaining about, these guys, they make all this money and they don't have to do anything. They don't practice. When I first started college football, we had 3-a-days, right? We had 3 practices in one day for like 2 weeks straight. And then, by the time my brother went to college 5 years later, they had 2-a-days. Now they have 1 practice every other day. So, times change, things change, and you just got to stay up with it. But the game is all right. It's entertaining. It's fun to watch.
Those Andy Reid training camps were not easy.
Yeah, Andy Reid. So our coach, Andy Reid, who's coaching the Chiefs now, he was known to have one of the hardest training camps and really one of the hardest practices of all. We had guys coming from other teams that would say, "What the hell are you guys doing? You tackling to the ground?" Other teams didn't tackle in practice. We tackled every day. We would practice 2-3 times a day. Andy wanted us to be prepared, part of that preparation thing. And other teams weren't doing it, and they certainly weren't as successful as us.
All right. Gerasmos, go ahead. Then Leah.
Who was the teammate that pushed you not only as a player but as a person?
A couple of them. Deuce Staley, who's a running back coach for the Browns now, he was a couple years before me, but he was a starter when I got here. And him and Brian Mitchell, Dorsey Levens, Correll Buckhalter, they all took me underneath their wing. It was like, yo, we're going to make you do stuff as a rookie that you probably don't want to do. We had to buy chicken every week. We had to carry their helmets and pads. I had to get them towels for their shower every single day. But they also took me under their wing and was like, look, you're going to do things the right way. You're going to understand the plays the right way. You're going to become a professional. And when you're coming from a small school where professional football wasn't always the thing on your horizon, learning from professionals how to be a professional was super important. So Deuce was important to me. One of my best friends was Brian Dawkins, and his ability to be on that edge for 12 to 15 years, being the best player on the defense in the NFL was amazing. But his amount of focus, his family, his faith was super important to us, and a lot of our conversations revolved around that.
Can you share B-Dawk off the field, B-Dawk on the field?
Yeah. So Brian Dawkins, probably 5'10", 5'11", maybe 215 pounds. On the field, off the field, would come up, shake your hand. He may speak to you maybe a little bit, not a lot. You got to be one of his closest friends where he even talk to you. And then on Sunday, this dude transformed into a problem, like a menace. He wore this black visor, couldn't see his eyes. He was jacked. He would grease up his damn arms. He looked like a wrestler, and he was a menace. He was the hardest hitter in the NFL for years. He attacked the quarterback, got sacks, got interceptions, got touchdown returns. He did everything that you would want a safety to do. But also we played in a day where if you came across the middle, they're going to try to kill you. And he tried to kill people. But he was this is kind of the irony. He was also a God-fearing man. So he would never cuss. He would say things like, after he just killed somebody, he would like, bless you, bless you, bless you. He would say things like that. But if you guys get a chance, look him up, number 20. NFL Hall of Famer, the best player I played with, bar none. But physically, he was also the player. I've had two the best hits of my career. One was my rookie year in practice. I'm just running down the field, didn't have the ball, just literally just running just so that coach won't be complaining when we watch the film. And Brian just comes in, cleans my clock, right? Throws me into the damn bleachers. And so I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I still talk to him about it. You got to pay attention where you're going. I'm like, bro, I ain't even have the ball. So that was one. The last one is my last game of my career. There's a kid named Adrian Wilson. He was 6'2", 220, all muscle, played safety for the Cardinals. And I caught the ball out of the backfield like this, and he clotheslined me. And I flipped, and I laid on the ground. I was like, thank God this is the last game for me. I just had nothing left. It was pretty bad. But those were kind of the guys that I was around the most and probably had the most impact on.
Leah, go ahead.
What do you think about the NFL's push for more international games since they want to have at least 16 in at least a season in the future?
What do you think? Why do you think they want to do that?
Probably expand their market, more money.
More money. NFL is a money business. It's run by billionaires, backed by billionaires, and hopefully it will make a lot of high millionaires. I think it's cool, but I kind of see behind it, see what it's about. It's about getting more people to love the game. This is way before you guys were born. You guys heard of the Dream Team, right? Basketball. Before that, there wasn't really any international basketball like that. And when the Dream Team went and played in the Olympics and just dominated, there became more and more international basketball. And now NBA is spreading out, right? So it's a money thing. It's a thing of beauty to be able to see our league and our game continue to expand. But it's a money thing.
I want to thank Sean Tucker, the athletic director, being here. He was captain of his Rutgers football team. What question would you have for B. West?
Talk about Villanova, right? So you go from Villanova to the Eagles. Talk to us as someone that maybe wasn't highly recruited. Obviously didn't come from a Power 4 institution, but yet you're sitting in front of all these folks after, I would say, a Hall of Fame career.
Thank you.
Talk about what were the three intangibles that you carried and embodied from a college student to now a professional successful in any area.
Well, thank you. The three things that I carried, and I probably still, we talked about them a little bit earlier. Hard work, right? Discipline and focus. Those are the only things that I truly am good at. And I procrastinate like everybody else. Like I got this executive business degree last year from Wharton. And, it's a class, right? So you're taking class, and I'm like, damn, I'm procrastinating just like I did when I was in college. The same thing, same exact thing. But besides that, hard work, discipline, and focus. Those are the only things that I know. Those are the only things that made me successful in life. And in football, obviously, but in life, those are the only things that I'm focused on now. And for me, and everybody got to find their own thing, right? That may work for me. That may not work for you, right? That works for me. But those are the things that have allowed me to be where I'm at in the room speaking to you guys. And that means a lot to me.
I get a part two to that. Sure. Favorite college football memory, whether you're performing your play or a player that you played against that was just exceptional.
So my second year, I told you guys, I was, so in the history of college football at the time, really in the college or the NFL, there was only one other person that ran for 1,000 yards, over 1,000 yards, and received for over 1,000 yards. It was this guy named Roger Craig. He was a great running back for the San Francisco 49ers. And so when I was able to do that in college, which literally nobody in college had ever done, that evening I go back to my dorm, just probably drinking a beer. I don't know what I was doing. I was in my dorm, and the phone rings, and it was Roger Craig. And he called and he congratulated me, said, "Congratulations! I'm so happy that you were able to do it." To this day, I have no clue how he got my number, Be honest with you, I don't even know that it was Roger Craig, but it's someone, whoever said it was, they said it was Roger Craig. So that's the story, right? I mean, so that's probably it. That was probably one of the biggest and most important things for me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Listen, we've run out of time. We could go on for a long time with Brian Westbrook. It was a great semester of Pizza with the Pros. Thank you all for coming. I want to thank Sam Prince, our pizza guy, every week. Gerasimus, thank you for the 1 week filling in for Sam. And Sam has been doing this now for 4 years? I don't know, 3.5. He's got one more semester putting those pizza. Thank you to Chickies and Pete's. Please go to Chickies and Pete's and you get those coupons that you get the free crab fries. So make sure you take advantage of that. And thank you so much for being here. If you're interested in his foundation, being an intern, please, it's info at BrianWestbrookFoundation.com.
Yep.
.com.